It's time for Losses Above Replacement, the best baseball podcast to grace your ears, with your hosts, Alex.
Gosh, I have so many questions. Also, where's my car?
Splash.
Strive to love something as much as my grandmother loves buying new crock pots.
And Mac.
If you've ever been to Boston, you know that they have amazing ice cream.
Coming to you from coast to coast, it's L-A-R.
If you're listening to the podcast today, take solace in the fact that you are a better hat designer than our not-so-good friends at Topps Fanatics, whoever designed the atrocities that were so bad that multiple hats have been taken down within a day of them dropping. And before I ask Mac and Alex how they're doing, there are some teams that I will be looking at with a very close lens this season. They are replacing S-tier City Connect jerseys. Actually, you can go back on our channel. Jack and I did a video ranking all of the City Connect jerseys. There are teams, the White Sox, Marlins, and Nationals. I'm looking squarely at you. If you screw up your City Connect jerseys, I will be at your front door. I will knock down your door like I'm the Kool-Aid man, and I will ask that you atone for your sins against humanity. So don't screw it up. With that said,
I
Alex,
don't know how much they're going to
Mac?
take you seriously there, Splash. But
how are you
all
guys
right.
going to... Okay, respect the Kool-Aid man, first of all.
I do respect the Kool-Aid man. I don't respect you.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
I'm kidding.
You guys know he's my favorite superhero, right?
I mean, that tracks. Yeah.
That makes
he's
sense, yeah.
Technically a Marvel character. How are you guys doing?
Better now knowing that that Marvel canonically has the Kool-Aid man. But
Yes.
no, I mean, doing all right. I've been playing MLB The Show a good bit here since our last podcast. It came out on early access, and it is a pretty darn good time, I'm going to say. I'm really enjoying it. Diamond Quest is a really fun new add to it. Gigi just got into the podcast. Hello there, baby. And I'm having fun with it here. So again, I think aside from a few complaints I do have here, this is looking like it's a really good MLB The Show.
Yeah, I'm going to figure out a way to get my hands on MLB The Show at some point. But other than that, I'm going to Boston this week. So I'll be gone Thursday to Sunday, coming back Sunday night. So, yeah, looking forward to that. We got like 20 people going to Boston from my team this year. So it seems like it's a good time. It is St. Patrick's Day, which is a big day across America, it feels like, especially. Big parades, I'll tell you that much. I am coaching this evening because Central Park is basically inaccessible because of the parade. But other than that, doing all right, feeling closer to spring. And if you've noticed, we are recording on an earlier day this week. Baseball, the real games, start tomorrow morning. So I'm pretty excited for that.
Big time stuff. The all-important question, Mac. Will you be having ice cream on your Boston trip?
That is a great question because I don't know. I'm there. Well, I'll see.
Look, you have to for the bit at this point.
Yes.
I know. If the extent I'll probably go to though is like going to the marketplace in my hotel and getting like a Dixie cup or something because it's I don't know, the sessions at this meet are probably going to take a long time. So it's gonna be one of those things where like I'm probably too tired to find anywhere in the area. But yeah, I'm sure I'll have ice cream in some way, shape, or form while I'm in Boston. It just might be Haagen-Dazs.
I respect the effort.
Look, I love Haagen-Dazs. To be fair, I'm just saying that.
I respect the effort. One thing that I hope all of us put a lot of effort into, our regular season standings predictions. This is gospel. This is, this is our Bible. This is our Quran. This is our Torah. This is, if it's October 17th. This is the podcast you should look at because obviously every single pick we make will be correct. I know that's impossible.
I'm batting 1,000. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, we're all going to bat 1,000. We're all going to have the correct everything. There's not going to be any errors today. So in the wise words of Ellie De La Cruz, no errors today.
Yeah, fair enough. Honestly, these lists, like, I will say, I feel a lot more confident than I did last week with the positional rankings. But here's the thing, right? Like, the divisions feel very top-loaded, and for some of these as well. Like, there are some divisions that are very close, and then some where it's just not. And that's kind of went into, like, how do I want to order some of these things? And there's a few of these I definitely may have taken a couple creative liberties on, but honestly, I feel pretty good now. Now, I feel more confident, at least, than last week.
I can't echo your same sentiment, but that's because one very specific team is becoming that very specific team again, but we will get to that when we get to that. Mac, please spin your wheel and let's pick a division to start.
All right, here we go.
So instead of going through a uniformity, go ahead and spin. We're just using a wheel to do it because we found out this is more fun.
Yes, it is more fun.
And naturally, the first team I landed on was the National League East.
Oh boy!
We're starting off hot and heavy.
Starting out hot for sure.
Bada bing, bada boom. Here are the odds. The Braves are favored across the board, but slightly they're not odds-on favorites, followed by generally the Phillies, then the Mets, although they are tied on the Hard Rock odds. Then the Nationals in fourth. You can get them at 10,000 to 1 on BetMGM. And in last place, you got the Marlins at 25,000 to 1 on some sites. So, fellas, are we all in agreement the Marlins will finish last place in the NL East?
Yeah.
Yes. And respectfully to the Marlins, I don't think this is particularly close. And I think are we all in agreement that the Nationals are going to come in fourth?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, again, I think both these teams, if they were in different divisions, would have better chances to do that.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, kind of piggybacking off of that, the NL East is one of those ones that I was talking about that is so top heavy. Here, you have three teams that are the juggernaut at the top, and then you have the others, right? Like, it just feels like at that point, like the Marlins and the Nationals are at least decent enough teams. Like, definitely have issues, right? But not like not the White Sox, right? But because of the division they're in, they're going to look even worse because they're going to have to play against the Braves, Mets, and Phillies much more than any other team is going to have to.
Yeah, this is a fair point. I'm actually pretty high on the Nationals this season. I like a lot of their pitching development, ironically enough. You brought in Sean Doolittle, and they've figured out some things. I like Mackenzie Gore. You have DJ Hurst, Mitchell Parker. It's a young rotation. I think they could be really good. And the position player core is also young and really, really good. James Wood. We might talk about Dylan Cruz more next week when we talk awards odds. So foreshadowing there. Brady House is coming up soon. CJ Abrams was an all-star last year. I really like the Nathaniel Lowe move at first base. You get an adult in the room, a World Series champion in the room. Keibert Ruiz, the Nationals like him. Okay. Luis Garcia, he was an honorable mention in my top 5 second baseman list. Jacob Young can really go get it in center field, but they are the 4th best team in the NL East. So who wants to break the seal and tell us who's going to finish 3rd in this division?
Go ahead, Alex. Actually.
Yeah, so I'll go first on this. Here, my number 3, I have the Phillies. Like, here's the thing, right? Like, you really could go any way with the top 3. Like, and the Phillies have one heck of a pitching staff on them. I'll give them that. Is it Mariners starting pitcher level? No. Is it still extremely good? Absolutely yes. Here, and then on top of it, you take that with a good powerhouse offense here, led by Bryce Harper. This is going to be a very good team that honestly still is going to compete for a wild card here at the number 3 spot. Here, spoiler alert, I may have them as a wild card, but no, honestly, overall, I think that the Phillies are a fantastic team. The biggest issue for them is that they're in the NL East because you have kind of echoing the sentiment here for the Nats and the Marlins here. You have to play against the Braves and the Mets a bunch of times too in the year, which you're going to be lucky to kind of split those series overall here. So at that point, I have the Phillies, just honestly purely because I don't think that the offense fully holds up here against the Mets and the Braves.
Yeah, so I'm also going to go with the Phillies in third. I think the Phillies are a playoff team for sure, but I do have concerns about their team, really. I think they have a fantastic pitching staff, arguably the best starting five in the National League. My concern is that lineup is really, really top heavy. You have the top three in the lineup of Schwarber, Turner, and Harper. The 4 to 9 in that lineup, I mean, I really do not trust the 4 to 9 in that lineup. I think, Alec Boehm had a great month of April last year. He was pretty average the rest of the year. I still am not sold on Bryson Stott as a major league hitter. I think JT Realmuto and Nick Castellanos can both be fine, like 105, 110, maybe 115 in WRC plus, but those guys are both getting older and their bats both took steps back last year. So I'm not really sold on that offense. And the bullpen, I think getting Jordan Romano, I think Romano is going to have a bounce back year. Losing Estevez and Hoffman will definitely hurt. And I don't think they did a great job replacing both of them, but I think it's enough to get them to the playoffs. But I have them coming in third.
And I will complete the triumvirate here. I have the Phillies in third as well. The bullpen, I think it'll be shaky to start. I don't fully trust Jordan Romano. I think both Jose Alvarado and Orion Kerkering are better options to close games out. So maybe you have like a Kimbrel Light situation that Romano starts as the closer, and then it's, May 17th and Romano has a 6.5 ERA. So yeah, you're going to go to Alvarado, who's been, throwing 102 already in spring, and Kerkering has perhaps the best pitch in baseball with his sweeper, like 80 grades across the board. It's an incredible pitch. And Mac, you said they might have the best rotation in the National League. It's certainly up there, especially if you bring up Andrew Painter this year, who's dealt with his fair share of injuries the last couple of years. I'm not entirely moved by Jesus Luzardo, although his velocity is back. Christopher Sanchez, all-star last year. People are projecting him as like a Cy Young dark horse. And of course, you have the horse, Zach Wheeler.
And Ranger Suarez.
Ranger Suarez, yes. Aaron Nola, yes. The gang is all back. So 1 through 5, very, very good. I think the bullpen could have some issues, but they have 7th, 8th inning guys that I would trust as a closer. And then, like you said, the lineup is just getting old, and it's hard to bank on Schwarber and Castellanos and Turner and Harper and Brandon Marsh and JT Realmuto to continue to produce. I think it's fair. I'm not going to bet against Bryce Harper, so it's probably unfair to have him in that group, but Kyle Schwarber has struggled a little bit in spring, and he's a big swing and miss guy. So if your 30% strikeout rate is more like 35%, that puts you in a tailspin. Nick Castellanos is famous for swinging at pitches out of the zone. If he's a little bit worse at making contact, he's sort of similar to Vlad Sr. in that way, that he makes contact with everything. Well, if he starts missing on those pitches a little bit more and the average dips by 10 points or 20 points, then you have a really pedestrian to bad right fielder. I think Bryson Stott's a terrific defender. Don't know how much he'll hit. JT Realmuto is well into his 30s now. And the Phillies, like a certain team south of them in the division, don't have great depth. And I think that is troublesome when you have this mercurial group of players that I don't necessarily trust to be awesome for 150 games. They'll be hot and cold. Alec Boehm, like you said, was great for a month, then was kind of average. He was getting benched in the playoffs. Let's put it that way. Yeah, who is backing up Alec Boehm? Edmundo Sosa. Sorry, Edmundo Sosa is moving no needles for anyone. So I have the Phillies in third, and I'll go into my number 2 because this is an exciting one. The Mets, baby. Let's talk about the Mets. The Juan Soto Mets. The Mets, baby. The Mets.
Let's go Mets.
Yes, let's go Mets. Well, I'm not going to say that.
That meme format's still one.
That meme is pretty good.
Yes, that is top tier. You know what else is top tier? Clay Holmes. Clay Holmes is going to make the All-Star game this year. He might start the All-Star game. Honestly, I could see it. my concern with the Mets is the bullpen outside of Edwin Diaz. Okay, Edwin Diaz, I'll trust him. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He's electric. He strikes out 40% of the guys he faces. That's fine. The starters, I don't actually hate. I like Sean Manaea. He turned it into Chris Sale light at the end of last season. He delivered some big starts in the playoffs. Kodai Senga was really good his first season. Then last year he threw like 10 innings total. Clay Holmes, I am all in. Like I will buy all of your stock on Clay Holmes. Outside of that, David Peterson, old reliable. Frankie Montas is dealing with an injury. Paul Blackburn, Griffin Canning. Okay. Brendan Sprott might make his debut at some point this season. Okay, that's fine. Also, AJ Minter in the bullpen. He's going to allow one home run that's going to make you want to jump off the bridge, by the way. Just saying, Mac. The lineup,
yeah.
I made the graphic cards yesterday, and the top tier is great. Alonso's going to hit 40 homers. Soto's going to hit 35 homers and drive in 100 runs and walk 100 times. Brandon Nimmo is going to be good. Francisco Alvarez, when he comes back, I think he'll be good. Mark Vientos, I don't know if he'll be quite as good as he was last year, but I think he'll be a plus bat. But what are we doing at second base? Jeff McNeil, former batting title winner. I don't think he might be cooked. Francisco Lindor is going to go 30-30. Center field, Jose Siri is what happens when you max out all of your attributes, but decide to leave your contact on nothing. He could hit sub 200 with the longest home runs and craziest bat flips you've ever seen. And elite defense. He might be the best defensive player in baseball, depending on what day of the week it is. DH spot, Jesse Winker was fine last year. Starling Marte's cooked, but I have the Mets in second. It's a really good team. I think they are could win the World Series, but unfortunately they play in a division with another team that's also really, really good.
So I have the Mets coming in second too. And really, I actually like the bullpen a lot. I think Diaz is the biggest X factor. I mean, if we get somewhere in between, what he was in 2022 and what he was last year, I think he's going to have a good season. I really like the pickup of AJ Minter. Finally, last year, the lefties in the bullpen were Jake Diekman and Danny Young, and then Diekman got cut during the summer because he performed so poorly. So I actually don't mind the bullpen. I really like the offense. McNeil's overall numbers were kind of ugly last year. And yes, he is dealing with an oblique problem right now, but he started to hit much better in the second half when he started swinging harder and being less concerned about just making contact. So I think he was fine overall, but I think the starting rotation is going to hold them back. Manaea is already hurt. Montes is already hurt. I think I have faith in them that they're going to add at some point, but I think they're just a tick behind here. I think they're going to make noise this year, but I think they're coming in second.
Yeah. I also have the Mets in second. Here, I can't believe we all have the exact same list on this one.
Wow.
It was a good start. But no, I'm going to echo the sentiment here. This is a team that is stupidly good. Splash, you brought up the term needle mover a little bit ago. They did get a needle mover. His name is Juan Soto. Juan Soto is going to be absolutely insane in Queens right now. And you pair him alongside Francisco Lindor, you're just asking for wins, basically. And I mean, not even to mention as well, Jose Siri, who can just blast the ball out of the ballpark if he ever decides to make contact. Pete Alonso is the polar bear here. You've got all the makings here of a great team, and they are a great team. The problem, well, for one, bullpen. I have some issues with the bullpen as well. Here, starting staff, I think, is going to be pretty solid overall. But the main problem for them is that there's another team in front of them, and that team is the Atlanta Braves. The Atlanta Braves, you just take a look at them, and top to bottom, they just look strong, right? Again, with Chris Sale at the head alongside Spencer Strider, that 1-2 punch might be one of the best in all of baseball. That 1-2, there's very few rivals to that here. Then you add on hopefully having Acuna healthy. Please let him have a healthy season so we can just watch good baseball from him, as well as Michael Harris and Marcelo Ozuna. Then again, Splash's boy Raisel Iglesias here at the back of the bullpen here. Like, this team is stacked all the way throughout. Like, if you really want to get down to it, you have guys that are home run champions here that are a little bit lower on their batting order, like, say, like Matt Olson. I'm not saying he's a full champion. You know what I mean here. I think this team is so strong here. And to say that this team is ahead of the other teams in this division should tell you that the team below them signed one of the best like generational hitters we have ever seen, and it was not enough to move them above the Braves.
Yeah. So my 2 cents on the Braves really is that their offense, I think there's no way they underperformed the way they did last year. I think across the board. I mean, I don't know if Ozuna is going to replicate what he did last year, but I think the rest of the lineup is going to improve around, across the board. And while I think their rotation had about like a 99th percentile outcome last year, especially Chris Sale and Ronaldo Lopez, I think Schwellenbach is going to keep getting better, and they're going to get Strider back, if not right at the beginning of the season, very early in the season. So even if it does regress to like 70% of what it was last year, I think they win the division. It's going to be a battle to the end, I think, but I think they have a slight edge over the Mets.
Yeah, and one thing that I look at is last year, both teams, both the Mets and the Braves, finished with 89 wins. That was the third percentile outcome for the Braves. They had, depending on the odds, like if you look at Fangraphs odds, they started the season like 90%, 95% to chance to make the playoffs. They made the playoffs. Just about everything else went wrong. You lose your arguably the best pitcher in baseball, arguably the best position player in baseball, and you lose the catcher that I said was the best catcher in baseball coming into the season. Austin Riley missed his time. Michael Harris missed his time. Just about the only player that didn't miss time was Orlando Arcia, and he was the worst player in baseball for like 4 months. And everything went wrong. They won 89 games. And for the Mets, it felt like it was the inverse. Everything went right after about April 5th. Everything went right after
June
mid-May. 1st. Yeah, June 1st. You can
pick
your day, and they were tremendous.
After Grimace came to the stadium.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Mets.
Yes, you have Grimace, you have OMG. Everything went right. Lindor nearly should have gone 30-30, frankly. Manaea turns into Chris Sale down the stretch. Edwin Diaz finds his form again. Jose Iglesias hit like 340.
Yeah, 337.
And that felt like 90th percentile outcome to get to 89 wins. And I think there's some regression to the mean here. Now, of course, the mean for the Mets is higher. You add Juan Soto. I'm not going to say, they're going to win like 82 games this season. There's a reason I picked them second, and I'm reasonably high on the Phillies. I think they can legitimately win the World Series. But I think the Braves are going to be closer to that 95 win mark. It's just a really good lineup 1 through 8. And then you have Orlando Arcia, who's a competent defensive shortstop. So fine. He actually had a sac fly today. I was impressed. Last year felt like every single game came down to 2 outs, a man on, probably at second base, Arcia at the dish. And if he just does something, the Braves win probably 93 games. But he was miserable with runners in scoring position. So it happens. And more than the big four, I'd say, with the Spencers, Sale, and Ronaldo Lopez, I trust Atlanta to fill in the 5th, 6th, 7th starter spots with adequate arms. And that starts right now with Ian Anderson, who is walking the world, and Grant Holmes, who I do trust. He had some pretty, I'll call him gangster starts last year. He pitched in game 161 Monday, I'll say Monday morning. And they're like, oh, Chris Sale, by the way, he can't go in game 2. So Grant Holmes came out and just started game 2. Yes, please. He's a fighter. He the hair, everything, the aura is off the charts. Ian Anderson, 0 aura, unfortunately. But AJ Smith-Shawver is throwing 17 million miles an hour right now. Hurston Waldrop, maybe one day. He's kind of souring in Brave circles. J.R. Ritchie, Owen Murphy. There's some exciting Braves arms you've never heard of, and I'm excited to see them evolve throughout the season. So I have the Braves in first.
All right, what division are we moving to next then, Mac?
So I have spun the wheel, and it is the American League East.
Okay.
All right, we are getting spicy.
This one is going to be very spicy.
Yeah.
There's a lot to work with here.
Yeah, and if you don't mind, I'd like to lead us off here and just roll through the order I have. So I'm just going to go out and say it. The Blue Jays are coming in 5th, and I don't think it's that close. They did sign Anthony Santander and Max Scherzer, and somehow Scherzer is dealing with a thumb injury. He's also going to be 41 this summer, so I thought that was a risk. Yeah, I'm just not very high on the Blue Jays. So the Blue Jays are coming in 5th. I have the Rays coming in 4th. I think their pitching staff could be the best in the division. They very high ceiling, and I think their offense could make some noise. I'm not too high on them other than Junior Caminero. But I think the Rays are an all right team, but I think they're 4th right now. I got to go with the Orioles in 3rd. I think they're a playoff team, but losing Corbin Burns and they're not going to have Kyle Bradish this year. They signed Charlie Morton and Tomoyuki Sugano, 2 aging players, I feel like. So, the Orioles, I think their offense is going to improve. I have concerns about their pitching staff, though. So I think they're in 3rd. I have the Yankees in 2nd. The reason I'm putting the Yankees above the Orioles is I have a little more faith in them to add to sort of offset those injuries. They've been dealt 2 significant injuries to their pitching staff, with Luis Gil missing significant time with a lat injury and Garrett Cole obviously getting Tommy John. I think their offense is very, very top heavy, kind of like the Phillies. They have Aaron Judge. Is Giancarlo Stanton going to play this year? What's Cody Bellinger going to do? Paul Goldschmidt is 37 now. So I think the Yankees, I think they're going to make moves. It's just, I think they come in 2nd this year. And the Red Sox, I've been high on them all offseason. I think they had the best offseason in the division. They are so talented, and they have the best farm in baseball, and they got like an ace in Garrett Crochet. Their bullpen is what concerns me, but I think the Red Sox have potential to be the best team in the American League this year. So I'm going Red Sox in 1st. Yankees and O's, I think, are both wild card teams, then Rays and then the Jays.
Yep, I could understand. Honestly, that list is very similar to mine. I'm not going to say exactly the same. So this will be the first divergence that we do have. Gigi, can you please stop scratching my chair? Thank you very much. Anyway,
average cat owner right there.
Average cat
Yep.
right there. Yep. Anyway, number 5, I have the Blue Jays. I mean, they added Santander. Yeah, they added Scherzer, who may or may not even play. I just don't think they have it here. I also have the Rays at 4th as well. Again, they have some good pieces, just not enough to compete at this point here. At number 3, I have the Yankees. Now, the Yankees and Orioles, like you were saying there, Mac, they're really interchangeable. The odds here are just wrong. But for the people that are not on YouTube right now, we Swash is showing the odds that say the Yankees, Orioles, Red Sox, Rays, Blue Jays for the order. No. Here's the reasoning why I put the Yankees at 3 is because they have so many more question marks right now. You have right now, your starting rotation is in a free fall with the loss of Garrett Cole. You don't know how well it's going to work anyway with the pieces that you've got left and in the ballpark that you're with. The offense has taken a number of hits from last year, losing Soto. You've lost, now you've had Giancarlo Stanton as well. There's a lot of pieces where I'm like, I'm not sure if this will fit right now. And because of that free fall, I have them at 3. I do have the O's at number 2. And honestly, it's because it's almost the inverse of that why I like the O's a little bit more. They're getting back pieces that they're going to be interesting. One of them, more specifically, here is one of the best closers in the game in Felix Bautista coming back. If you have a healthy Bautista, that is going to make your team better. Especially, it's really going to help shore up the closing issues that the team had last year. Here, plus, I think I'm fairly high that the main Orioles players are going to have some good comeback plays. I think Gunner's going to play very well. Adley, I think, is going to play better than he did last year. And I think Zach Eflin is going to be at least a good addition to the starting rotation here. And then there's Boston. I've not been that high on Boston, honestly, but I think they've done enough to at least warrant being my favorite for the division here. Going and getting a guy like Crochet is a huge move to make your rotation so much stronger here. Plus, the offense was kind of the other concern that I've had, and they've shown that, okay, you know what, their offense can work here. Having guys like Tristan Casas there, guys like Rafi Devers that are playing good baseball again. And, of course, not to mention Jerron Duran here, adding Bregman as well. They've added enough to where I think they are good enough to be at that number one slot here. But it's also very interesting to me because I look at this division now and we compare it to last year. The division feels so much weaker. And it's insane what 1 year's difference will do, where we were talking at this time last year that we're going to have 3 teams, potentially 4 teams from the AL East making the playoffs here. And now you're be lucky if there's 2.
Folks, ladies and gentlemen, I have a longer Blue Jays rant coming at the end of this podcast. They'll finish in last. In Tampa, new ballpark, new offense. If you're playing fantasy baseball, bump up the Rays hitters a little bit. Brandon Lau, Josh Lowe, Junior Caminero, Yandy Diaz, etc. Bump them up a couple spots. Bump down the pitchers a couple spots. I think that ballpark will really. It's basically Yankee Stadium, but outdoors in Florida. So that should be fun. I also have the Orioles in third. They are making quite the bet on Charlie Morton and Sagano to a combined age of 76 to get outs in the big leagues. I trust them to get outs. I don't know how quality those outs will be. Grayson Rodriguez already dealing with injuries. Zach Eflin, he's the quote-unquote ace with Burns gone and Bradish out. And Eflin's a fine pitcher. I think there's a sort of limit on his ceiling. He's sort of a poor man's George Kirby. George Kirby's awesome. And Zach Eflin is like 80% or 75%, which is a good pitcher, but I'm not exactly moved. I'm still moved by the Yankees rotation, even without with Max Fried, even without Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole, of course, only pitched about half of the season last year. Max Fried was tremendous again with Atlanta. A testament to how good he's been. 3.25 ERA last year, his worst since 2019. Carlos Rodon gets a lot of whiffs. He's a gamer, heart of a lion, all the cliches. Luis Gil is going to miss about half the season. Clark Schmidt is dealing with injuries right now. I think Marcus Stroman is sort of in the same bucket as Sagano and Morton, but he's the number 5 for New York. He's the number 4. He's not going to be asked to fill in these big innings. You go get Devin Williams to fill in the bullpen. And I was a Clay Holmes defender as a closer, but Devin Williams is better than Clay Holmes. Then Will Warren, a rookie eligible player, probably going to be more of a starter than reliever. Luke Weaver goes from the 9th inning. He was very good last year to the 8th inning. Ian Hamilton. The Yankees always cobble together a good bullpen. And yes, the Orioles are getting Felix Bautista back, and that pushes Yennier Cano and the rest of their bullpen up a couple innings. And Bautista's great. I trust him to be awesome, but I'll take the Yankees over the Orioles. And I am going to complete the triumvirate and 10 picks in a row, the same as Mac. I have the Red Sox. This offense, man, could be spectacular. Your weak spots are Connor Wong, who has been at times a good offensive player, and Trevor Story, who at times has been a good offensive player. I think Trevor Story has some bounce back ability in him, but the rest of the lineup just rakes. Like Casas, rakes. Bregman, rakes. Please play him at second. Devers, rakes. Yoshida, he's going to be above average. Duran, rakes. Rafaela is going to hit some homers, and he's going to play excellent center field defense. And Wilyer Abreu, excellent defense in the outfield, and he's going to hit a little bit. And guess what? If they don't hit, you have Marcelo Meyer, you have Roman Anthony, you have Christian Campbell, you have 3 top 20 prospects in ball. And you look at the rotation. It starts with Garrett Crochet, but I care about more than Garrett Crochet. Maybe you get a bounce back season from Walker Buehler, further removed from his injuries. And I like Andrew Bailey as the pitching coach. I was high on the Red Sox last year. I said during the middle of the season, they were my pick to if one of the wild card teams could make some noise and make a Texas Rangers run, they were my pick. I had them in the playoffs, left, right, and center. all throughout last season. That didn't end up happening. They played more 500 ball, but I trust that, they're going to find some ways to win games. Aroldis Chapman's throwing 100 again. You have Liam Hendricks, who might figure something out again. So rooting for him, absolutely. But Boston at 1. We are unanimous.
Yeah, and I'll be honest. I think before if you asked me this like a month or two ago, I would have said the Yankees, and it wouldn't have been close. But those injuries are significant enough to kind of bump them down. But like I said earlier, I think they're going to be aggressive, trying to make a move.
They're going to. They have to if they're going to try and compete. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm spinning the wheel, and the next division we are going to is it's going to be an American League team. It is the American League West.
Ooh, okay. This is exciting. I had the odds up this time. The Astros lead the way on every site. They are tied with the Rangers on both Bet Rivers and Caesars. They're at plus 180 on Caesars, if you feel so inclined.
I like how you have the Athletics and the Athletics.
Yes, that is
two Athletics. Wow.
Yes. That is probably just an error on having the logo. Anyways,
well, there's a lot of errors on this here, but that's definitely one of them.
Yes. Rangers in second. You can get them at plus 210 on Hard Rock. They are below plus 200 on a couple sites. The Mariners plus 200 on FanDuel. You can get them at plus 225 on BetMGM if you feel so inclined. If you want to bet on our Athletics, not the Oakland A's, not the Las Vegas A's, not the Sacramento A's, just the Athletics. Plus 3,000 on Bet Rivers, plus 2,500 on FanDuel, and the Angels plus 2,800 on BetMGM. They're depending on the book, you can get the Athletics fourth or the Angels fourth. If you're betting on the A's or the Angels, seek help. So there's that. Who wants to begin?
What we say we bet the under.
Who wants to begin in the AL West?
I feel like I should probably go last on this one.
Okay.
The AL West guy.
All right, that works for me. Mac, would you like me to go first?
Yeah, no, I'll go first here. I'll just start off. The Angels are coming in fifth. I'm sorry, Angels fans. I hope Mike Trout stays healthy, and I hope Zach Nato has another great year. But
he's hurt right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know. I hope he gets healthy and then has a great year. But I don't. There isn't a lot to say about the Angels. There just isn't a lot to get excited about. Hey, Ben Joyce is pretty good though, and Kenley Jansen could fetch you a good prospect at the deadline. The Athletics, as much as I wanted to put the A's higher up on this list, they're a fourth place team. I think they're improving, and I really like Mason Miller and Brent Rooker and Lawrence Butler, and heck, even Zach Geloff I think could have a solid year. It's not a bad team. Shea Langeliers is a big time power. And you're playing in a minor league stadium, so maybe he hits 30, 35 home runs. They're not a terrible team. It's just I think they're still a ways away from contending. The Rangers, so I have the Rangers in third, and I'll say this much. The Rangers have the highest ceiling in the division. They also have the lowest floor, I think. They were very, very banged up last year. Their offense across the board regressed. Their pitching staff gets Jacob deGrom back this year. Either Jacob deGrom, if he pitches 160 innings, 150 innings even, he could be the best pitcher in baseball. But that's my biggest question. The rest of that rotation, John Gray's already hurt. Nate Eovaldi, I think Nate Eovaldi's pretty good. Maybe he's the most reliable starter in the rotation, but he's also in his mid-30s. The bullpen, Chris Martin is going to be the closer, I guess, this year. I like Chris Martin a lot, but I wouldn't necessarily say I want him being my closer. So the Rangers, I think, have enough question marks for me to put them third. I'm going the Mariners in second. I really, really like the Mariners pitching staff. Their offense, I think, can improve, especially with the full season of Randy Arozarena in the lineup and a healthier Jorge Polanco. And obviously, Cal Raleigh hits dingers. Julio Rodriguez, I think, is in for a bounce-back season. Overall, I think the Mariners a fine team. I'm going with the Astros here mainly because I think they have the highest floor in the division. And it looks like Cam Smith might break camp. He's been tearing the cover off the ball. I think if you're looking at American League Rookie of the Year picks, heavily consider Cam Smith. I think their pitching staff, although they'll have Valdez leading the way. Hunter Brown, I think, is going to take another step forward this year. Their bullpen lost Ryan Presley this year. It's still really good. And their lineup lost Kyle Tucker. But like I said, they got Isaac Paredes and Cam Smith in that return. and they got Christian Walker to play first base. That's an upgrade. I think overall it's still a solid team. I don't quite get why people are so low on the Astros. So Astros in first, Mariners second, Rangers third, A's fourth, Angels fifth.
All right, it's time to throw 100 miles an hour. Ben Joyce, hello. The Angels are in last place. In fifth place.
That's one way to say it.
Yes. In fourth place, do I pick a team that can't hit, or do I pick a team that might not be able to pitch? Fellas, it is a spicy time in the universe. I have the Mariners in fourth.
You are insane.
Wow.
Bro.
Listen,
okay.
Bro.
The Mariners can pitch with the best of them at T-Mobile Park. When they are away from T-Mobile Park, it does not work the same. I have compared it to Coors in reverse. The pitchers, it's just not the same. They are not as good away from home as they are at home. And they play 81 games outside of T-Mobile Park. I don't know if they have any like special games otherwise, but they'll play 81 games and they'll be the best pitching staff in the world. They'll have a sub-3 ERA because that's just what they do. But can this team hit? I don't know. I'm not exactly banking on Victor Robles to be really good again. You know who I am banking on to be really good? A team that has respected their players, that has invested money in their team for once. They have extended Lawrence Butler, who I think will be an all-star this year in his hometown of Atlanta. Brent Rooker is a top-flight DH. Jacob Wilson, I'm going to talk more about him next week. You might want to scribble his name down for American League Rookie of the Year. You know who bangs on this team? Shea Langoliers. Bangs. Tyler Soderstrom. Bangs. JJ Bleday. As long as you don't look at his defense, kind of bangs. Miguel Andujar, Seth Brown, that's a okay group in left, and Gio Urshela was actually solid with the Braves. He brings some intangibles I like to a young team, a team looking for an identity, and I think this is going to be a team that finds its identity and bangs. They were pretty good in the second half last year. I will pull up the record, but like this is not a team.
I think they were above 500 in the second half last year.
Yeah, this is not a team that I would be looking forward to playing. The Braves do kind of own the A's. Not last year, though, but historically they had. But this is a team that had a winning record in July, had a winning record in August. Second half, they were 500 on the nose. They kind of slumped a little bit in September, but like they were, for 2 months last year, they went 29 and 21. That'll play. That's a like 58% winning percentage. I will take that. And I think adding an adult in Luis Severino helps the staff. And minor league ballpark, I get it. They're like it's an average PCL park, which probably means it'll play plus. I'm not saying this like JP Sears, Jeffrey Springs, like that doesn't get my blood boiling, but you know who does? Mason Miller closing out games. This could be a very fun team, and I think they'll win 85 games, and I might be talking about them more when we get to our playoff segment. Number 2, I have the Astros. This is sort of like the Braves light situation that last year was like such a disastrous year, and they eventually figured it out and made the playoffs and then got dunked on by the Tigers of all teams. Congratulations. Losing Tucker hurts. Christian Walker is currently dealing with an injury. If I remember,
it looks like he's gonna be ready for opening day though.
It's an oblique though. Those kind of stress me out. Valdez and Brown might be the best duo in the American League. Wait for next week. I like it. I like aspects of the team. I think Hader will be better than he was last year. But I'll take Texas with the high ceiling here. You have Simeon, you have Seager, you have Adolis Garcia. I really like the Jake Berger move. I praise the Nationals for the Nathaniel Lowe move. I like Jake Berger. I think he will absolutely mash. And you can actually go back on the Twitter account. I predicted he would hit 30 home runs, 35 home runs, or maybe just lead the division outright in home runs. Regardless, I would like to see Jacob deGrom healthy. I'm rooting for that. I am hoping that happens, and that's part of the Texas in first scenario is banking on the health of Jacob deGrom. Evaldi, they have Tyler Mahle, who had recently had TJ. The bullpen, they won the World Series without a bullpen in a spectacular way. Evan Carter, young player, hope he develops. Wyatt Langford was spectacular in the second half. He might be the best like WAR player in the AL West if you don't get a full season of Trout or Julio. Whatever. maybe get a bounce back from Josh Young. Those are the
He's gotta stay
positives
healthy.
here.
Yeah.
But so Texas in first, Houston in second, the A's, the Athletics in third. Stay tuned for more A's commentary. Mariners above 500, but in fourth. Angels, I hope they don't lose 100 games. They've never lost 100
They
games.
might. They got 99 last year, so.
Yeah, but they went on like a 1-10 stretch to end the season. They might win 65 games this year.
All right,
I'd say that's a win. Alex, the floor is yours.
I've been mauling this entire time, Splash, because what the hell is wrong with you? Many things, in fact. Anyway, I'm going to get started. No shocker here. Angels in last. I mean, your opening day starter right now is Yusei Kikuchi. You don't know if Trout's going to play the game. You have Zach Neto. Cool. Ben Joyce. Cool. Literally nothing else. They're fifth. In fourth, I have the Athletics. The Athletics are a good team. I think they are very fun this year. Do I think that they have all the pieces ready? Absolutely not. Here, I don't trust their starting pitching staff at all. Like, they've made a little bit of improvement on it, yeah, but there's no consistency there. Your only player that you're truly relying on pitching-wise is one Mr. Mason Miller, and that's only if you have a lead going into the ninth inning here. So, ixnay on that here. My number 3, I have Texas as well. And here's the reason why. Like, yes, their ceiling is incredibly high, but like Max said, their floor is in Antarctica. Like, legitimately, we saw what happened with them last year, that you can have some high bits, but I think what happened in 2023 is truly a modern miracle, considering what this team actually is. And if anyone is out there trying to tell me that Jacob deGrom is going to pitch a full season here, I would like to direct you to the last 10 years of this planet called Earth, where how much has he pitched? To give you an idea, on MLB The Show right now, his card, the image from it is still from 2023. They don't even have images from the little bit he played in 2024. Like, at this point, I don't think he's going to pitch a full season ever again at this point. Like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 5 times, and I'm really starting to question my sanity. So, with that being said, yes, they have some great pieces. I like you. I like the ad of Jake Berger. I think he is going to be a big ad for them. I think Adolis Garcia is better than a lot of people give him credit for. I think that Marcus Semien is going to play well. I think Corey Seager is going to play well. Their starting pitching staff, I have no confidence in as well. I like Nathan Eovaldi. ... After that, it gets messy. And their bullpen, don't even get me started on the bullpen. You got Chris Martin and who else? So, going from there. Number 2, I have Houston. I don't care if you guys are going to get mad at me for putting the Mariners at 1. I will explain it. So, Houston at 2, because they have been the definitive number 1 for a while. I understand that, and I have accepted that. You know what they don't have anymore? Half of their core. They lost Bregman. They've lost Correa years ago. You just lost Kyle Tucker. You are relying now on what? Jose Altuve to try to play left field, Yordan Alvarez to completely carry the offense here. Yonder Diaz is a good catcher. I'm going to give him that. Christian Walker, if he plays, will be good. But like you said, Splash, I am scared whenever I see the word oblique, because those injuries are worse than knee injuries half the time, because you don't know what's going to happen at that point. Josh Hader has fallen off on a lot of people's closers lists. And the rest of the team, I don't really know what to do with. I also think that Isaac Paredes is a great move for them. I predicted, I think, earlier on this podcast, he was going to have like 40, 50 home runs because of the charity box over in left field. Yeah, not going to call it anything else. But I think that the team is good. It's still very good. But this division has evened out so much over the last couple of years here. And it is for that reason that the Mariners are going to win the AL West. You had the juggernaut division of Houston for a while. Texas played absolutely out their gosh dang skulls back in 2023. I don't see it happening again. You know what I do see, though? I see the Mariners having 5 starting pitchers that all of them are contenders for being, like, every single one of them is a Cy Young contender. Every single one of them will be in the top 30 for Cy Young voting. Well, in the Cy Young projection for the American League. Every single one of them is a dominant day. In the bullpen, yes, you have question marks. I will address that here too. You're also getting back one big name here that we did not see at all in 2024. His name is Matt Brash. Matt Brash is insanely good here. Yeah, you've got a bunch of names here. Thank you for pointing that out, Splash. Here, but you have Matt Brash to be in the 8th inning for Munoz, who I think is going to have the breakout year of a century with the development of the kick changeup here. So I think right now you have an excellent bullpen, end of the bullpen at the very least, and you still have guys like Trent Thornton who can at least hold it down there too. Yeah, Splash, you're rubbing your temples. Don't worry, I was doing the same during years.
Okay, I have some pushback. How is Munoz a breakout candidate? He was on my top 5 list last year.
No, I'm saying the major breakout from going from being just.
No, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
I'm not saying breakout to be like from nothing to something. I'm talking about from being something to being the best.
I don't know.
I get what you're saying.
Maybe I've been effectively wild pilled. They have like these breakout conversations weekly. Like Spencer Schwellenbach is not a breakout. He was awesome last year. Lawrence Butler is not a breakout. He was awesome last year.
Yeah, it's a breakout from what we know of them.
Okay.
But from there, at that point, I think that this team, especially offensively, took a big step forward last year when we had the addition of Edgar Martinez and Dan Wilson. When you put those two together, the offense got a lot better. We've noticed that, and you know what they did this year? They promoted Edgar Martinez to the director of hitting strategy, and you added a nice little hitting coach, Splash, that you're very well acclimated to, very familiar with here. That is going to help even more. And we have seen in spring training so far, I guess spring training stats don't mean much, but they're a fun little indicator. This team has been hitting nonstop. And it has been very fun to watch. I think if you take this team, and last year, if you fix the hitting, that team becomes World Series level team. With the pitching that they had, all their biggest problem was their offense. Now you fix the offense. This team is winning it. This team is winning the AL West. I'm not saying that they're going to go to the World Series, although I want them to. I think, legit, you take a look at this team top to bottom. They have fixed a lot of their issues. Yes, there's a ton of question marks. I will give you that. You don't know what you're getting from Jorge Polanco, especially when moving him to third. You don't know what some of the infield is going to be. Are you going to have another incredible year from Cal Raleigh? I think you will, personally, because we stand big dumper here. But I think that this team has the potential to do something really special here in 2025.
Yeah, I'll say one quick thing on the Mariners before we move on, which is that I think they have a higher floor than higher ceiling than the Astros. I think the Astros have a higher floor. But I with the Mariners rotation, I wouldn't be surprised if they did win the division. But I've spun the wheel, and the next division is the AL Central. This one I think can go in any direction here.
Yeah. The odds on this one are pretty goofy. I might say. Let me pull that up.
The odds for this one it feels like this is a division that people just kind of forget. Oh wow! Please check out the YouTube to see why we're oohing and awing about this. Like that's. Ugh.
Yeah, so we start bottom. I'll go first here. White Sox 25,000 to 1. They are not winning the division.
They're not winning baseball games.
Yeah, the over under for them is 54.5.
I'm taking the under.
To be clear,
felt high. Wow.
There are NBA teams that the Cavs have already won more games than that.
They played an 82-game season.
Yes. Heck, I think if the Chiefs played 60 games, they might win 55 of them. Anyways, yeah. Then the top 4 is just total chaos. I don't know if this is exactly true, but it sure felt like it. every team in the top 4 at some point was in all 4 spots at some point in September last year. The Twins took a nosedive. The Guardians ended up winning the division. They probably were higher than 4th the entire time, but the Tigers went from 0.1% chance to make the playoffs to making the playoffs. The Royals made the playoffs. I wonder who predicted that they would actually have like a big improvement, because they added competent players, and that matters. But let's move over to our graphic real quick. In last place in the AL Central, I have the White Sox.
Just go ahead and put White Sox for all 3 of our fans.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
I can do that. I haven't even filled your names in yet.
Respectfully.
I actually am excited to see Sean Burke pitch opening day. He had a sub-2 ERA last year. Sure, it worked with Garrett Crochet last year. Maybe it'll work again. Maybe they have this voodoo magic. I don't know. Luis Robert, okay. Bad year last year. Mike Tauchman is a solid MLB player. Fine. Outside of that, it's just about growth and development. And the Charlotte Knights aren't a very good team. The farm system is better. They did trade Garrett Crochet. They have 2 outstanding catching prospects in Teal and Caro. So maybe one day they'll figure it out, but that is not today. In 4th place, I have a playoff team from last year, which is actually not shocking because they had 3. I have the Royals in 4th. I don't exactly buy Seth Lugo finishing 2nd in the Cy Young again. I buy Cole Reagans. Give me all the Cole Reagan stock. I don't buy Bobby Witt having another 10-war season, maybe 7. And at some point, I'd like to see Michael Garcia or MJ Melendez or Vinny Pasquantino like actually have a breakout season. You can pick them every year as a legitimate breakout, especially Garcia and Melendez. Pasquatch, I think we can all agree, is a good hitter, if not not great or anything, but a good above average hitter. But Garcia and Kyle Isbell and MJ Melendez, we're just like kind of waiting on them to be good, like really good MLB players. I hope I don't have to wait too much longer. I have them in 4th. Number 3, I have Cleveland. The bullpen will not be as good as it was last year. Sorry. I don't think Clase is going to have a sub-1 ERA. I don't think Hunter Gaddis and Kate Smith, I don't think are going to get down ballot Cy Young votes. The hitting, Jose Ramirez, great. Stephen Kwan, great. Bo Naylor, I think he'll do something. Carlos Santana, fine. What are you getting out of Lane Thomas? Defense and center field, shaky. Can we play John Kenzie Noel, please? Can we do that? If you do that, I will retroactively move you to 1st. Number 2, I have Detroit. Listen, they went on a miracle run to end the season last year. August, September, they won a playoff series against the Astros. I love Riley Green. I think Parker Meadows is very good. Kerry Carpenter, Kerry Bonds for a reason. Colt Keith, I'm all in on Colt Keith this year, but what are you getting out of Trey Sweeney? What are you getting out of Jace Young at 3rd? Gleyber Torres at 2nd is fine. Jake Rogers at catcher is fine. They really like him internally. I don't think the bullpen will be as good. I think this is a lot of the same arguments I had with Cleveland, except they don't have Emmanuel Clase at the end. They have more, I don't want to say middling arms, but more guys that outside of Detroit you've never heard of. So it happens. The Twins. I swear to God, freaking Minnesota. Can you be healthy for half a second? Half a second. 1 iota of 1 millisecond. I swear, Royce Lewis left yesterday's game with an injury. He's been ruled out for opening day. Byron Buxton has played 100 games in a season, not since 2017. Carlos Correa is unbelievable. He is a Hall of Fame level player who just likes to miss half seasons. Max Kepler's in Philly now.
Philadelphia.
Yes. Matt Wallner. Can't hit lefties to save his life, but he's a StatCast god. He might as well be Giancarlo Stanton. Can we please be healthy? Edouard Julien, can you have a strikeout rate below 40%? That's all I'm asking. Ryan Jeffers, can you be good, please? Jose Miranda had the stretch last year. He turned into freaking Ty Cobb. Ty France probably plays over him at a decent amount at first base. Trevor Larnach is like Matt Wallner, but light. Pablo Lopez, my Cy Young pick last year. What are we doing? Johan Duran, top 5 reliever. What are we doing? This team baffles me. It frustrates me. I'm going to pick them in first place again. So congratulations to one of the other 4 bozo organizations, this godforsaken AL Central. The White Sox have a better chance of winning the division than the Twins because I picked the Twins. 2 to lose. I have them in second place in the AL. They're going to lose in whatever round they play first because of the Twins. I'm done.
All right. I'll go next on this one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm going to immediately piss off Splash here by going with the Twins in 4th. And the reason why I have the Twins in 4th is for the same reason of what you just said here. They will not stay healthy. It's just not going to happen. This is one of the most cursed teams in baseball right now. And it's because you have all this talent. You got Byron Buxton. You've got Carlos Correa. You've got Royce Lewis. You've got these guys. You know what you don't have? A doctor's office on the field. You are going to have good players, but your good players keep getting injured. And it's like with Jacob deGrom here. You can't keep saying that deGrom is the number 1 pitcher in baseball when he doesn't pitch, when he doesn't play the game. That's the issue here on this. This team on paper, absolutely incredible. The problem is that paper was made from the paper bones that they have on their bodies. At this point, I really like their bullpen. Griffin Jax, I think, is an excellent reliever right alongside Johan Duran. I think those two make an incredible 8-9 inning duo here. Moving on then to my number 3 on this, I have the Tigers. I think that the Tigers are a really fun team. And when you're led by Tariq Skubal, one of the best in the game on the bump here, was so good that he was able to carry his entire team past a win against the Astros in the playoffs, which, again, by the way, eternally thankful for. So from there, I think that they've got some really good pieces. I really want to see if Spencer Torkelson will actually start to live up to some of his hype at this point. But they've got a bunch of other guys here. Cole Kidd, like you said, Riley Green. I like the team. The problem is I just don't think they have enough overall to work with. Number 2, I have the Guardians. I think that the Guardians are another really fun team. You have Emmanuel Clase, arguably the most extreme closer in baseball. I love watching him pitch. It is legitimate, like watching someone put on a masterclass. They still have, Jay Rem, who is, in my humble opinion, one of the best third basemen in baseball and one of the best hitters in the game overall. They have a lot of fun pieces. Bo Naylor here, Stephen Kwan as well, Jughead Noah, and my boy Kyle Manzardo, who they traded away Josh Naylor to give him more playing time. So that's fun. Plus, also Kyle's been mashing in spring. Regardless. Anyway, I really enjoy what the Guardians have. I just don't think they have quite enough to make it all work. And then you have the Royals at number 1. And I'm going to tell you right now, the reason why the Royals number 1 is because Bobby Witt Jr. is the truth. Bobby Witt Jr. very well may honestly be a top 5 player in baseball right now.
He's close to it.
Yeah, if he's not, then he's dang close. Cole Reagans, I think, is going to be a lot of fun. Seth Lugo, again, I'm not sure if he's going to put up the same season he had last year, but if he's going to be at least middle to above average, then that's fine. From a number 2 starter, that's fine. The bullpen, I have questions about. You got what? You got Chris Bubich. You have Lucas Erceg, who could be good as well. It could be fun. No, this one comes down to the offense here. When you have Bobby Witt Jr. playing absolutely out of his gourd, Salvador Perez being a catcher and DH here, and then hopefully a full season of the Pasquatch. I think that there's enough here to make them enough to be number 1. Also, if Freddie Furman can please play up to his expectations, please and thank you. So, from that being said, it almost feels like a direct inverse of what Splash had was my list.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Yeah, wow. I just noticed that. Yeah.
We have the duality of man, and yet the one bit of consistency is the White Sox.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and I guess we all are gonna have a different order here in some way. Coming in fourth, coming in fourth, I have the Guardians. Here's the thing is that it's just weird. the records are going to be inflated because you get to face the White Sox a dozen times a season, but the Guardians were great because of their bullpen last year. And like Splash said, I think they had about like a 99 percentile outcome, but it wasn't just like one player. It was all of them. And I don't see any of that happening. I have so many concerns about the offense outside of Jose Ramirez. Stephen Kwan really struggled in the second half last year. I think Manzardo is going to improve, but like it's a questionable offense, I think. And last year, their rotation was just Tanner Bybee, and then pray someone else goes out there and gives you 5 solid innings. So I have concerns there, and I'm going the Tigers in the third. I like the upside of their starting rotation, especially after getting Jack Flaherty back. Their offense, I'm still concerned about. What's Spencer Torkelson going to do? Is he going to play the outfield this year? What's Gleyber Torres going to do in Comerica Park? Kerry Carpenter can hit righties. Is he going to play every day? It's a weird offense. I'll tell you that much. Riley Green is really great. I'm fully in on Riley Green. And I think their bullpen has enough pieces where they can contend with that. Second, I have the Twins. I think the Twins, to Splash's point, have the highest ceiling in the division. They have so much talent. Their bullpen is projected to be the best in baseball, according to Fangraphs. So, like, this is a talented team, but the health, I mean, Royce Lewis already out for who knows what. They don't even have a timetable. Is Byron Buxton going to play a full season? Yeah, I have questions about the Twins, really. So they're in second. The Royals, I think, are the most complete team in the division. Do I think Seth Lugo is going to duplicate what he did last year? Not necessarily. I think he and Michael Wacha, though, are both fine pitchers, and I think Cole Reagans is a Cy Young contender. And we'll be talking about that on our awards show next week. I really, really am high on Cole Reagans. And their offense, Bobby Wood Jr. is still great. They could have Jack Caglione in the majors this year. I think they will. They picked up Jonathan India. Really like Jonathan India, the addition of that. I think Pasquantino is going to improve too. And I think Salvador Perez could get better if they start moving him off a catcher more. Again, it's going to kind of create a logjam, but I think top to bottom, this is the most complete roster in the division. So I'm going Royals first, Twins second, Tigers third, Guardians fourth, and the Charlotte Knights in fifth.
Yeah, basically sounds about right.
Yeah, so I've spun the wheel, and the National League Central is the next team.
I feel like we're gonna have something very similar in this. Where there's just not gonna be a whole lot of camaraderie in it.
Well, here are the odds. The Cubs lead the way. They are outright favorites on Bet Rivers and Caesars. They are even money on Hard Rock and FanDuel. Then the Brewers are in second, the reigning division champs. The Reds, you can get them at plus 550. The Pirates, you can get them at plus 1,000. And the Cardinals, you can get them at plus 1,200. So, fellas, who wants to go first in the NL Central?
I'll go first here.
Sure thing.
So, yeah, the NL Central, it's kind of like, it's honestly harder to predict than the AL Central, I think, just because we don't for sure have a bottom dweller. But sadly, I'm going to put the Pirates in fifth. They did not do nearly enough to support that amazing pitching staff, I think. So the Pirates are in fifth. That offense, somebody help them. So they're in fifth. Although I do like Paul Skeens and Jared Jones and Mitch Keller, Bubba Chandler, etc. So they're in fifth. I have the Cardinals in fourth. It's just an aging roster, and I think they had a pretty underwhelming offseason. They failed to trade Nolan Arenado, so they're kind of just stuck with him. I think, their pitching staff, Sonny Gray will anchor it. Their bullpen, Ryan Helsley, is still good, but this is a team I think that's going to tear down this summer. I don't expect Helsley or Arenado to be on the roster past the summer. I don't think Sonny Gray is going to be on the team. It's a lot of aging players. I don't even know if Wilson Contreras will be on the roster after the trade deadline. I think Jordan Walker they'll try to get every at bats for him. It's just, it's not a well constructed roster. So they're going to come in fourth. I have the Reds coming in third. I think they're going to make progress. I like the addition of Gavin Lux. I think Ellie De La Cruz is going to continue to improve. Hunter Green, if he pitches a full season, could have another great season. Nick Lodolo. Lodolo, if he's healthy, I think could be pretty good. But again, it's about staying healthy. And then I'm going to go with the Brewers in second. The Brewers on paper don't have as much talent, I think, as the Reds, but they just find ways to win, as we saw last year. I was not high on them, and they ended up winning the NL Central by 10 games. So I think the Brewers come in second, and I think the team with the highest ceiling in the division, the Chicago Cubs, I think even if they don't reach their full potential this year, have the most talent in the division. Kyle Tucker was a huge pickup for that offense that kind of struggled at points last year. Seiya Suzuki's still good. Yes, they traded Bellinger, but like Pete Crow Armstrong, really high on Pete Crow Armstrong. And I think that rotation's solid. And then they got Ryan Presley to support Porter Hodge in the bullpen. So it's an interesting division because I don't know if there's a clear favorite, but I'm going with the Cubs taking this one.
Yeah, I'll go next then on this one. And I'm just going to outright say it. This is such a weak division. Like, this is one of those divisions that you're just like, you're not anxious to see who's going to win because, oh, I can't wait to see this team in the playoffs. You're anxious to see who's going to win because, oh, they somehow came out on top. Okay. With that, my number 5, I have the Cardinals. I think that the Cardinals just, they don't have much. Like, I mean, Sonny Gray. Number 4. My number 4 team, I have gone with the Pirates. Purely because they have the same kind of thing, except with a couple more players. They have a really good starting rotation. All right, number 3. Number 3, I have the Brewers. I agree with what Mac was saying, that they just find ways to win games. They've got some good players overall here. And I mean, come on, how can you not just like watching Yelich play at this point? But I don't think they have enough to really be at the number 1 spot. But I do think that they win a decent bit here because that's just what the Brewers always seem to be able to do. Plus, something, Jackson Churio. Number 2, I went with the Reds. I think that the Reds are a very fun team, and they could honestly win the division. I think there's a very real chance of that happening. Problem I don't like about them is that they don't have much pitching. Their pitching is pretty just gone overall here, but you have a very fun infield to watch, especially with Ellie De La Cruz here, who, if he continues on the pace that he's on, might be a contender for NL MVP at some point in the near future. I think that Ellie is really good player. The rest of the team is really starting to build around him. I'm also on with you that Gavin Lux, I think, is going to have a fun year. And then, I have the Cubs at number 1. Adding Kyle Tucker is a huge move for them, as well as now getting just a lot more addition to the team. And the team is starting to age up. Because the last few years, we've been trying to see, okay, they have these young players like Pete Crow Armstrong and Michael Busch here that are like, okay, they're young, let's give them a little bit of time. Well, now they have the time, and they've proved that they're pretty darn good. Plus, they have a fun little pitching staff as well. So at this point, I think that because the division is so weak, having that needle move of Kyle Tucker really set them over the edge for being number 1 in the division. But I also, like I said, I very well could see the Reds taking it as well.
Well, fellas, I have the Cardinals in last. The difference to me with the Pirates, who I have in 4th, and the Cardinals, is the Cardinals have some level of MLB talent that they will jettison at the trade deadline. Like Max said, I don't think Sonny Gray is going to be long in the tooth. I don't think Nolan Arenado, he might not last past May 15th. The Pirates, on the other hand, have a dearth of like hitting talent. So I think they'll keep the same group, and their MLB talent, like their plus like trade assets, are so plus that you're not going to trade them. Paul Skeens, Bubba Chandler, who I think will be excellent, Jared Jones, you're not trading those guys. Mitch Keller has an extension long-term. I think Pittsburgh could have one of the better rotations in baseball, and this isn't even like Skeens heavy. If you say Skeens is just like a good pitcher, I think they still will have one of the best rotations. They might have the best rotation in the division, even if Skeens is just like a good pitcher, not the best pitcher in the world, like I think he is. Number 3, I have the Brewers. Yes, I get it. They win games. At some point, the lack of solidified pitching will come back to hurt them. Freddie Peralta is, fine. Brandon Woodruff is coming off major injury. Nestor Cortez is fine. He's going to eat up some innings for you. Some of their young arms.
We got Jose Quintana.
Jose Quintana is going to be like a 4 ERA for 150 innings. I can appreciate that. Some of their young arms haven't quite panned out like I've expected them to. I think they'll be a fine team. They'll hover around 500, might finish a couple games above 500. Number 2, I have the Cubs. The rotation to me still feels like you're missing a true ace. I like Imanaga. I like Steele. They both have really high pitchability. They both, to me, scream like Kyle Hendricks on the 2016 team. Like really good. He won the ERA title, if memory serves, that season. Was high in Cy Young voting.
2-1 ERA. He was a finalist.
If Hendricks is your number 1, I think there's some issues. And if Imanaga or Steele are your number 1, they're great 2s. I think they're phenomenal 2s. They are great Robins. Who's the Batman? I don't think they currently have a Batman. Maybe they have one on the farm. But I would feel a lot better if they had an ace. And you know who has an ace? The Cincinnati Reds have an ace. And by the end of the season, my prediction, they'll have 3 aces. Not only Hunter Green, who led the National League in Baseball Reference War last year, inexplicably among pitchers. I'm really high on Rhett Lauder. He is not my NL Rookie of the Year pick. He's probably the most logical pick if you're using my brain. And then Chase Burns out of Wake Forest, their number 2 pick, because they did well in the draft lottery last year. They could have 3 aces. They could legitimately have the number 2, number 3, number 4 pitchers in the division in very quick succession after Skeens, of course. Brady Singer, you make the move with Jonathan India. I don't love trading India, but I think they have enough infielders to cover that up. You add in Gavin Lux in the offseason. Nick Lodolo has been all right as a big leaguer. Andrew Abbott's been all right as a big leaguer. Nick Martinez is cool. The bullpen is very worrisome, but the Cubs have a very worrisome bullpen. The only bullpen in the division I trust is the Brewers, and Pat Murphy could throw the 3 of us out there and we'd inexplicably get all of the outs in the 9th inning. I don't know. It's going to work. The Reds, I would
very much like that opportunity. Thank you.
Yes, I'm moved by the Reds. Of course, I think they're going to hit. It's just the ballpark. It's a given that they're going to hit. I think the rotation is very, very good, potentially very, very good. Now, that needs Rhett Lauder to be awesome. He had a brief stint in MLB last season, so he's Rookie of the Year eligible. And then Chase Burns, probably an end of the season. I'm thinking like rookie Chris Sale comes as a reliever in September. Everyone's like, oh my God, who is this guy who has an 80 grade slider and an 80 grade fastball? And I'm going to say it. He is the closer by the end of the season. I know he was drafted last year. I think Chase Burns will be the Reds closer by the end of the season, and the Reds are going to be diabolical come playoff time.
I'm really, really high on Chase Burns. I feel like, maybe they do like what, the Rays did with David Price or what the Cardinals did with Adam Wainwright. Like, you bring him up as a closer to begin with just because their arm is big league ready, but long-term, he's probably a starter. But I'm curious to see, because I thought he was probably the most big league ready arm in the draft last year. I'm pretty curious about him. I know that he was a reliever at points with Tennessee, but really had a great year as a starter with Wake. So this leaves one division left. Yes, the NL West is the last team for us. So
I'll pull up the odds. I'll pull up the odds.
I haven't got first yet. So
go ahead.
I wonder who number 1 is.
The Rockies.
Yeah, who could? Yeah, who could? Oh boy, those odds for the Rockies, man. I did not realize that.
Look, it's weird whenever you have a team that has less playoff, has less NL West. Just winning the division odds than the White Sox.
Yeah,
they're pretty close to it.
Dang close.
Oh man,
that hurts. Anyway, I'll go first on this. Obviously, number 5, I have the Rockies. I don't think I need to say anything on this one. I feel like this is just unanimous. Can we all agree on that?
Yes, the Rockies are coming in last.
Yeah.
Over-under. Okay, here's the over-under. Over-under 18.5 games behind the 4th place team. I will give you some context, so you're not off in-
I'm going with the over on this.
I'll take the under on that.
Okay, last season, for context, they were 19 games behind the Giants. In 2023, they were 20 games behind the Giants. In 2022, they were 6 games behind. In 2021, it was the Diamondbacks were the worst team in the division. So
yeah, no, I'm taking the over on this.
So over 18.
Actually, I'll take the under on that.
I want the Rockies to succeed. Really, like my sister lives in Denver and lives not too far from the ballpark. It's a really I love the stadium personally.
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful.
But like I do feel bad for them. Like they get big crowds too on the weekends, especially. But yeah, the Rockies are last.
I like his like Brenton Doyle and Ezekiel Tovar and Ryan McMahon can only carry you so far.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So they're number 5. Number 4 on my list for the NL West, I have the Giants. Now, I think the Giants are an all right team. Do they have a lot of pieces? No, not really. You got Webb, you got Chapman. I'm very high on Ryan Walker, though. I'll give you that. Ryan Walker, I think, is excellent. Also a Coug. Go Cougs. Adding Justin Verlander was, I'm going to say it's needle moving just because of the name. But, I mean, I'm not sure how much he's going to do. And to be
he's
fair,
42 now.
Yeah, he's 42. And I also have a feeling he'll be wearing a different shade of orange come August. Traded back to the Astros.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I thought we were going. Okay.
I thought you were saying like Orioles or something.
I thought you were saying prison.
Whoa! No.
Okay, I've seen too many of the Orioles. The Orioles have the all orange uniforms. I've seen too many Orioles and disgraced Rays shortstop memes. So I see what you're saying.
I get that. Yeah,
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Although I will say Justin Verlander could have gone to prison the one day. Remember when he threw 102 in the 8th inning against Cleveland?
Oh yeah.
If that was like anything outside of baseball, he probably murders the umpires.
Maybe, yeah. All right. This is where I think my list might get spicy. I'm not sure. I'm going with, I was about to say a basketball team just because you had the basketball logos up there for a second. No, I do not have the Dodgers at 3rd. I'm not stupid. Another thing, I have the Padres. I think the number 3 and number 2 really could be fighting for that position here. I think the Padres have a lot of great pieces to it, especially with Jackson Merrill coming off of his incredible rookie season. You still have Tatis here, Manny Machado, Michael King is going to be a lot of fun this year. Just being clear on that part. Michael King is going to be a lot of fun. Luis Reyes, I still will be a big Luis Reyes truther because he is incredible at getting on base and hitting the single. But from that, I mean, they have a lot of the pieces. The problem is this is another division that is so very top-heavy. Here. Number 2, I have the Diamondbacks. I think the Diamondbacks are such a fun team. And they are one of those ones that have an incredibly high ceiling as well as a very low floor. They are very boomer bust. You're really depending on guys like Corbin Carroll to really come back and have these big seasons. You brought in Zach Gallen. Oh, no, excuse me. No, you lost Zach Gallen. What am I thinking of? I did the wrong thing there.
Corbin Burns.
Thank you, Corbin Burns. That's what I was trying to say.
Close enough.
He became Zach Gallen, basically. Thank you. Sorry about that. Yeah, you got Corbin Burns. Ketel Marte is still one of the best, just versatile players in the game of baseball. Here, no matter where he plays, he's going to be successful. And you got my boy Gino there. And then they added Josh Naylor. They've addressed a lot of issues, and they've played extremely well. Problem is, can you keep it consistently? Because we've seen that they can't always do that. Here. And then, of course, number 1, the Dodgers. I mean, the MLB The Show franchise mode of baseball. I mean, come on. You have all of the talent and none of the money being spent due to deferred contracts. So, I don't think there's really anything else to do. Here's my question here, just because we're going to hurt it at this point. Do either of you not have the Dodgers at number 1? Like,
yes, actually, I got it for you.
Oh,
there we go.
There we go. Yeah.
That's number 1.
Yes, sir.
We got the nuke at number 1. Let's go.
All right.
please check out the YouTube to see the image that Splash just put on our screen here. Make sure you go give us a subscription on YouTube at Losses Above Replacement.
Yes, absolutely. Dodgers in first. I'm actually not going to talk about the Dodgers. I don't have any interest. They're going to win 100 games.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Take that back. I don't think they're going to get the wins record or anything this season. I don't like any of their pitchers to win Cy Young. I don't like Sasaki to win Rookie of the Year, as good as the splitter is. The Dodgers have zero incentive to make this their all-in year. Zero. It's a rookie season for Sasaki. Ohtani is going to miss a month on the mound. Betts is already dealing with an illness in Tokyo. Yamamoto has never pitched a full season. Tyler Glasnow has still never pitched a full season, although he was getting closer to that last year. The Dodgers will have a year in there that I think they could challenge. Maybe a year that, I don't know, Fernando Tatis wins MVP and has like a 9-war season and the Padres win 100 games. Because I've said this before, to win 110 games, 115 games, you need some competition. Remember 2021, the Dodgers and Giants were back and forth the whole year. That got the Giants to 107 wins. The world famous 116 win Mariners, they weren't playing with 3 installments of the White Sox in the division. They were playing with teams. The Angels won the World Series the next year. The A's won 100 games the next year. They were all hyper competitive, and they had to win, maybe not 116 games to win the division, but they had to win a lot of games to win the division. And I think the expanded playoff format has kind of de-incentivized winning 116 games. Like the 1906 Cubs did it because they had to win the pennant to make the World Series. Well, duh, but they had to be the best team in the National League to make the World Series. The Mariners, only 4 playoff spots available. So you had to be the best team in the AL West or the best wild card. Now the Dodgers, there is more room for leeway here. So that's my wet blanket on the Dodgers. The Rockies are in last. Can we pitch maybe one day? Chase Dollander, maybe? I don't know. The Giants are in fourth. I will be rooting for the Giants. I've been a long-standing Giants hater because of the Brooks Conrad game and what they did to the Braves in the 2010 playoffs. So screw the Giants for that, and screw them for beating the 2014 Royals, who I became quite fond of because I predicted them to go to the World Series. That is the greatest prediction I ever made. Was before the playoffs started, I predicted Giants 4, Royals 3 in the World Series. Unfortunately, that happened to a T. I was rooting heavily for the Royals, but that didn't happen. I am a big fan of the Giants this year. I like a lot of their players. Chapman, Adames, Ramos, Verlander, of course, Logan Webb. I like some of their young pitchers. Hayden Birdsong walks the universe, but okay, whatever. Jordan Hicks, hey, he's cool. One guy I'm going to point out more next week is Gerard Encarnacion. Remember the name. They have Yaz still. They have Patrick Bailey, perhaps the best defensive catcher in baseball, right there with a certain dumper, big. That might be the nicest thing I ever said about Cal in the history of the podcast. Tyler Fitzgerald had a monster season last year. Can he keep it going at second? Lamont Wade at first. Unfortunately, I am a realist, so the Giants will probably finish 80 and 82 in year 1 of the Posey era. But I'm rooting for them. I will be watching a lot of their games. I hope they win the division. Sorry, Arizona. Sorry, San Diego. You've at times been my second team behind the Braves, but not this year. I think the Giants, the Tigers are kind of honorary because my dad's a fan of the Tigers. But the Giants, if the Braves got like nuked, the Giants, I think, would be my NL team for the year. I have the Padres in third. Last year, really, I think is like an overachieving season. He got so much production out of like Jurickson Profar was an all-star last season. And I get it that Machado and Tatis had some steps down and Bogarts was and Hassan Kim was and I get it, but it sort of screams regression to me. And in a lot of ways, it's similar to the NL East, that Arizona had a bad outcome to win 89 games and miss the playoffs. The Padres had a great outcome to win 93 games. And they were a game away from beating the Dodgers. And people will say that they would have won the World Series had they won Game 4 or Game 5 against the Dodgers. But something 22 innings without scoring. I don't know, man. Arizona led the world in runs scored last year. They're not going to do that again. No Jock Peterson. Christian Walker to Josh Naylor is a downgrade. I don't think Josh Naylor's power is going to play quite as well at Chase Field as it did at Progressive. But it's a really good team. You add Corbin Burns, who is similar to Zach Allen. I'm not quite as moved by. He wasn't in my top 5 starters. But I like Brandon Pfaadt a lot. And if rhymes, he could throw 175 innings, 180 innings. He's a workhorse. He's a gamer. I like that. I think you get a better year from Merrill Kelly. Jordan Montgomery can't possibly be that bad again, although he's trying to in spring. I'll give him that one. I think the bullpen will be better. So last year, 89 wins with the best offense in baseball and a disaster of pitching staff. This year, very similar to the Braves in reverse. The pitching won't be as good as number one. Or the hitting won't be as good as number one. Like Atlanta probably won't be the best, arguably the best staff in baseball. Sorry, Seattle. By F4, I think the Braves led everyone. Arizona, I think, will be more like 5th in offense, but they'll be better in pitching and end up making the playoffs, perhaps. Dodgers at 1.
Yeah, so I think it's fair to say that it's, there's a clear 1st and there's a clear 5th. Obviously, I have the Rockies in 5th. The Dodgers, I don't think it's going to be particularly close. They're probably going to win win the division by over 10 games, really. And now that I'm thinking about it, I have the same order as you guys. I have the Giants in 4th, not for their lack of talent. It's just in that division, I don't see them making a ton of waves, and now Young-Ho Lee is dealing with a back problem, is getting an MRI. Like, who knows what's going to come of that. I like their pitching staff more than I like their offense. I'll say that much. I think Logan Webb is a true ace. And they have talent. I really like Ryan Walker at the back end of the games. The Padres, I thought they were the team of destiny for most of last year, but they lost Jurickson Profar. Jackson Merrill, I mean, I'm curious to see if he can replicate what he did last year. But I think this is a team that might not have Dylan Cease or Michael King come summertime. If they're not quite in the race for the West or the wild card, I could see them trading both of them, or at least one of them. They're both in walk years. So the Padres in 3rd. I have the Diamondbacks in 2nd. I really like what the Diamondbacks did this offseason, getting Corbin Burns and Josh Naylor. And now that rotation is Burns, Gallen, Kelly, Erod, and Brandon Pfaadt, who I think is going to take a big step forward this year. It's a talented roster. The bullpen, little concerned outside of Justin Martinez and AJ Puck. I'm not really quite sure if that's sustainable. Dre Jameson throws pretty hard, though. He's got talent. I think that's on paper 1 to 5. That's a pretty good rotation. The Dodgers just have 7,000 players on their roster who could be major leaguers for almost every team, except some of them are either getting, like, they're on their pitching staff. They're either going to get moved to the bullpen or moved to the minors. The Dodgers are the number 1 team in the National League, probably the number 1 team in baseball. And I'm not going to talk about them much more because I think it's pretty evident what they are.
Yeah, no, I mean, you take a look at the Dodgers and you're just, again, there's a reason why I've kept calling it the MLB The Show franchise of the real world, because it just feels like they just sign everyone, get everyone, trade for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's kind of ridiculous. MLB The Show, I did a couple of franchise modes towards the end of MLB 24, and until the last year I played, I faced the Dodgers literally in every single year. So, even MLB The Show recognizes how powerful they are. The real world recognizes it. It's
funny enough, when I did my last,
we'll see.
When I did my last franchise in 24, it was with the White Sox, and I did get them a World Series ring in the 3rd year, but it was against the Brewers.
That's okay.
And I'm like, okay, Dodgers didn't win. Okay. Though, to be fair, this was, I told myself I'm having zero realism in this franchise. I did everything I possibly could to try to win. So
that's fair.
Based. Speaking of winning, It is time for our world famous playoff predictions. Who would like to go first? You can start AL, you can start NL, you can start 6, you can start at 1.
All right, I'll go first here. I'm going to start in the American League. I have the Red Sox as my 1.
Okay.
Give me the Astros second. Royals are my 3rd team. Hang on, let me. And then 4, 5, and 6. The Yankees are my 4. The Orioles are my 5, and the Mariners are my 6. And then in the National League, I have the Dodgers as my 1, the Braves as my 2.
Slow down just a minute. So
Okay,
Baltimore 5.
I'll give you a second.
We're getting
Baltimore
there.
5,
Don't worry,
Seattle
we're
Orioles 5,
6.
Mariners 6.
Okay. Okay.
And then National League, Dodgers 1, Braves 2, Cubs 3, Mets 4,
the Metropolitans,
Diamondbacks 5, and the Phillies 6th.
Mm-hmm.
Sponge, I'm gonna ask you real quick. Just take Mac's National League list and put that as mine as well, because I have the exact same list on that. Like direct to the point. I have that as the exact.
It's pretty
same.
Good.
That is.
I wasn't expecting that, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I think the Mets are gonna do it. I think the Diamondbacks are good. I'm not putting any team for the Central in my National League Central. The only team that makes it for the Central is the Cubs, and they're the number.
Yeah, no, I feel that.
Yeah,
I respect
literally the exact way, which is awesome.
Okay.
Then I'll go to my American League one. I have the Red Sox in the number 1 spot here, followed by the Mariners, and then the Royals. With then my wild card slots going to the Astros, to then the the Guardians, and then the Rangers.
Interesting.
Only one
interesting.
AL East.
One
team.
AL East team. All right.
Like I said,
All right,
I
fellas.
think it's just taking a big hit.
Well, we saved the best for last.
No, you did not.
Actually, this is inexplicable. We all have the Red Sox in first.
Wow.
All Red Sox is the top seed. Okay.
What?
All
right.
That's insane, actually.
And I am going to go ahead and add the Yankees in 4th. And I'm going to add the Astros in 5th. Minnesota, I have, I swear to everything known to man, just have one good season, please. Texas in 3rd. Fellas, I am planting my flag in Sacramento, like the A's. The A's are playoff bound, baby. Let's go, A's. All right. Nationally.
This is going to get interesting.
Here's the thing. I want to see the A's host a playoff game just to see what a minor league
they would not be hosting a playoff
trying to host a playoff game would be.
It'd be funny, though, if they did. If they advanced.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Or if Tampa had to host a playoff game.
Oh, yeah. It's Steinbrenner. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. That'd be hilarious, too.
Yeah. We got the top 3. Yada, yada, yada. You get the idea. The Mets in 4th. What a surprise. Number 5, the Philadelphia Blues. This will set up positively war. Set your calendars. Early October, Citi Field, Phillies at Mets, 2 games, perhaps 3 games. That will
we got that in the NLDS. We got that in the NLDS this year, and it was pretty electric.
It will be mega electric. I also have the Diamondbacks making the playoffs. So we all have the Diamondbacks. We all have the Phillies and Mets. The same 3 wildcard teams.
We have 5 of the 6 teams we agree on.
Yes, and they're largely in the same spots too. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
That's honestly really funny. Yeah.
All right. Alex, I have the Commissioner's Trophy for you. This is what it looks like.
Yep.
Who wins the World Series?
Are we doing the matchup or just who wins?
Yeah, you're welcome to do the matchup.
Okay, cool. Mariners, Dodgers, Mariners win it. I don't care if I'm being homerism. If I've been saying this for a while, if Seattle makes the playoffs, they will win with their pitching staff. They have the best pitching staff set to win in the playoffs. The only reason why they didn't do it in 2022 is that they decided to throw Robbie Ray against Yordan Alvarez. Also the fact that their offense just did not exist and they went to like 18 innings in game 3.
All right. Okay. Mac, who gets your commissioner's trophy? You know what this looks like. Your franchise has 2 of them.
Okay, you can go piss off real quick here, Splash.
God,
this is like
it's
unforeseen Mariners and commissioners. I can't believe
I
it.
have to walk a fine line here of do I want to be a homer or do I want to be a realist? Because the homer in me really wants to say the Mets. The realist in me has the Red Sox facing the Dodgers, and unfortunately, the Dodgers are winning the World Series. I really, really didn't want to pick them. Okay,
Look,
but
yeah.
I'll say one thing is that most years I pick the Dodgers, they don't win the World Series, so maybe that happens.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Mac, I'll actually one up you here. I don't have the Dodgers making the World Series. It's not going to happen.
Okay.
I have the Mets.
I wouldn't be surprised if it happened.
Yeah.
I have the Mets beating them. Unfortunately for the Mets, they're not winning the National League. I have the Braves winning the National League. But unfortunately for the Braves, it's going home. The curse of the Mookie Betts trade is no more. The Boston Red Sox will win the World Series.
So 2 of us have the Red Sox winning the pennant.
Yes.
Good to know.
Yes.
And 2 of us have the Red Sox winning the pennant, and 1 of us is right.
I have Rafi Devers overcoming the adversity, overcoming the language barrier, winning World Series MVP.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right.
For a World Series MVP, I'm going to take Julio.
I think this is the 4th year in a row I picked the Braves to lose in the World Series.
I mean, look.
Here's my thing, right? I
Yeah.
just want to put into the universe Seattle no longer being the last team. It's like no longer being the only team, in Major League Baseball to not even be in a World Series. That's all. That's what I want to manifest.
I hope it happens eventually. It's just it
needs to happen. And to be fair, I think this might be
eventually.
the year for it, given the fact of how good their pitching staff is, and that their pitching staff is basically built to kill in the postseason.
So I have some notes. Alex is the only one with the Guardians in the playoffs. I'm the only one with the A's or Twins in the playoffs. I'm also the only one with the Reds in the playoffs. So Mac, very chalky from you. Alex, a little bit of, I don't want to say wobbling in that context, but a little different. And then I'm like off the board here.
Yeah, you've gone a little.
And I noticed that all of our, like, for the most part, it's the American League we have different answers for.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Which I mean, to be fair, I kind of
nationally we had
that.
the same order for 2 divisions.
Yeah.
The first and last division we talked about.
Yes. So here are our full standings and playoff, well, not playoff predictions, but at least World Series picks. So let us know who you think did the best job. Was it Alex the homer? Was it Splash the homer? Or
I at least gave reasoning for my homerism there, Splash. I at least gave an actual good reason.
Well, my homerism was all 3 of us chose the Braves anyways.
No, your homerism was saying that freaking Texas every year you put both Texas teams in the top of the AL West, saying, Seattle's just not gonna have it. You know what? Seattle does have it. Screw
Texas did in fact win the World Series 2 years ago.
That was such a fluke year anyway.
Did I was the only one to correct me if I'm wrong. I picked them to finish. Wait, no. Whoa, I picked them 4th, but I had them in the playoffs.
What?
Yeah,
because I remember that was the year I was unreasonably high on the Angels.
Uh-huh.
And I picked the Angels.
I
had
the Angels in the playoff as well, if memory serves. Like
I think so. I think you had four teams in the West making it,
and I had Seattle ahead of Texas, but I had Texas in the playoffs.
Yeah, like you had Texas coming in 4th but making the playoffs or something weird like that.
Texas.
But I remember you saying that before the year, like that the Rangers were gonna make some noise, but I don't think you said they were gonna win the World Series. I don't remember off the top of my head.
I probably did not say they were gonna win the World Series. Now I am curious though.
We can do this. We'll go back and check it
because we're already at the hour 45.
Here's the thing:
mark.
we've already kind of decided this is going to be a special episode because we're recording it early and it's the standings special. So this is basically becoming a 2-hour episode because we're already at a quarter till 2 hours.
This is greatness, one might say. Let's see. At LAR_baseball Rangers, maybe that'll work, and we don't get anything. Granted, this was a graphic we posted 2 years ago.
Yeah, I was about to say,
2023.
We'll do that on our own time.
Okay. So, yeah. I think that's fun. You know what else is fun?
What's that?
There's actually several things that are fun. Today, what's fun is foreign baseball. That is the topic for today's trivia segment. Fellas, I have the list of every game played outside of the United States and Canada in a regular season context. This does not include Puerto Rico, to be clear.
Okay, I was going to ask
I was
that.
about to ask that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this does not include canceled games.
Okay.
The games in Puerto Rico, there have been 49 games since 2001. Regardless, fellas, your task today is to name teams that have played in a foreign setting, a Major League Baseball game in a foreign setting. First strike, because there's 30 teams, you know the 30 teams. First strike, you're out. So
First strike, you're out. All right.
First strike, you're out of there.
And so this is any non-America.
Yes. Well, not
Yeah,
United
so
States of
more.
America.
no
United
US.
States of America.
No
Or
U.S.,
Expos.
Canada, or Puerto Rico.
Correct.
Oh, Canada
Yeah.
also. Okay, good. Because I was about to say Toronto.
The
Yeah,
Blue
the
Jays,
Blue
the
Jays,
Expos.
and
Yeah.
actually, every team would count if that.
Yeah,
well,
every team. Yeah.
That's kind of what I was like.
Every
bringing
team
up,
would
like,
count.
okay, cool. We're
So,
just naming the
yeah,
teams.
all right.
Fantastic.
So, can you guys name the 5 countries?
I don't know, but I could start with teams.
All right. Well, I'll give you the countries as they come up. All right.
Okay.
Alex, you may go first.
Okay. I'm gonna take my Mariners.
The Seattle Mariners first played overseas in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
That was in, I can't scroll on Wikipedia.
Japan.
They played
opened the
Japan
season
in
against
In
the A's.
Japan.
I'm
They
gonna
beat the
go.
A's. They beat a team.
Mhm.
I'm going with another team that opened the season in Japan and played in London last year. The Mets.
The Mets actually played in the very first non
Yep.
game.
Benny
here.
Agbayani hit a grand slam.
They
in
lost
one of the games.
15-10 to a team that hasn't been named yet.
Mhm.
Alex.
Okay, well, Max said the name of the team, but didn't give that as the answer. Go with the A's.
The
Oh,
A's
right.
would
The
be
Mariners.
correct. They first played in the Japanese series in 2008. They
Mm.
split with the reigning World Series champion Red Sox as playable in MLB Power Pros 2008. Unfortunately, those games were hosted at the Coliseum, not in Japan. Mac, back to you.
I'll go with the Diamondbacks, who opened the season in Australia one year.
Yes, they got
Oh my
swept
gosh.
by a team that has yet to be named. Next, Alex.
Oh crap. Okay, now we're getting with the ones I do not remember much of. Because I didn't watch a whole lot of it. Let's see. Trying to remember. I feel like Boston has played overseas, so I'm gonna go Boston.
They opened the season in Japan in 2008, splitting with the
I was about to
A's.
say, wait, did you just say
A's,
that?
yeah.
Actually, now that
Yeah.
I think about
I
it?
said that series. I didn't say the team they faced.
You
Okay.
said the reigning.
I did.
You did absolutely say
Yeah.
that, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mac,
Appreciate it.
back to you, pal.
All right, I'll go with the team that played against the Red Sox, but in London, the Yankees.
The New York Yankees did, in fact, win that series 2-0. They scored 29 runs. Alex.
Yep.
All right. I'm trying to remember everything else that happened. Oh, there was like one where it was like a god awful shirt that was made here fairly recently that it was like both teams put together and it's
I'm
like,
picturing the shirt. It is in my
Yeah.
head.
yeah, I'm trying to remember. Have both teams been said or only one of the teams?
One of the teams has been set.
Okay. I believe one of them was Dodgers, and Dodgers have already been said. Mets have also already been said. Oh, what's the other team? Oh, I just lost it. Dang it. I'm gonna go with the. I'm gonna go with the Padres.
Padres would be correct. They played in the original series against the Mets, taking 2 out of 3.
Nice.
All right, Mac.
And they played in Seoul last year.
Yes, they did.
Oh, they were part of this. Yeah.
All right, Mac,
I
your turn.
remember the no.
I'll go with the team that they that faced the Mets in Japan, the Chicago Cubs. They're
The
playing
Chicago
tomorrow morning.
Cubs. They've also played in London. They play
Yes.
tomorrow. So yes. All right, Alex, your turn.
All right, now we're starting to get to. We're really getting to where I.
How many teams are left?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams left, I believe. 7 teams left.
7 teams left.
Either 7 or 8. I may have double counted one.
Oops,
Okay.
Real professional here. I'm sorry.
Now you good. Just because I feel like this is a team that probably would have done, I'm gonna say the Rays.
The Tampa Bay Devil Rays, correct answer.
Let's go.
Wait, what? Where did it?
Yes.
They play in.
Yes. 2004. They played in Tokyo.
What?
Let's
I
go.
had no idea.
Got
Yes.
the polls. Let's go.
All right. Mac, your turn.
Okay. I'm shocked nobody has said them because they played in London last year. The Phillies.
The Philadelphia Phillies. Yes, they did in fact play in London last season. Their first ever game outside of North America.
Yeah.
Alex.
Yeah, I forgot all about that. Let's see here. I am going to go just because I feel like they're a team that would have played there at some point, played somewhere else at some point. I'm gonna say the Marlins.
Congratulations, Mac. You are the champion today. The Marlins have never played outside of North
I know
America.
that the Marlins have played in Puerto Rico, but I did not think they played in any other.
Okay, so I have a quick. I want to ask: are the Braves a team that has played?
No, they have not played.
Okay,
No.
so both of my guesses were out the window.
And
all right,
Mexico would have counted, right? Because
yes.
Astros and Rockies, like they're Giants. I think.
Wait, you said Mexico didn't count?
No,
Yeah,
Puerto Rico
it
doesn't
counts.
count.
Yeah, Puerto Rico doesn't count.
Oh, I heard.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the 5 countries: UK, South Korea, Mexico, Japan, Australia. Teams, just rapid fire. Some of these are repeats, some of them are not. Mets, Padres, Rockies, Cubs, Rays, as the Devil Rays, Yankees, Red Sox, A's, Mariners, Dodgers, Diamondbacks, Reds and Cardinals, Astros, Angels, Red Sox, Giants, and the Rockies and Phillies.
Yeah, because I towards the end I just remembered about the Mexico City games. Like I remember the Dodgers threw a combined no-hitter in Mexico at one point. But yeah, that was.
And Yordan hit the longest 2 home runs of the season for the Astros last year in Mexico.
Yeah, I know that those games produced some wacky outcomes because of the elevation.
Yeah.
All right, good job, boys and girls. Congratulations, Mac. You are sufficiently prepared to open the season tomorrow. Next week, I have an extra special trivia. I'm really excited for this one. This is probably the best gimmick I've come up with. Bada bing, bada boom. I'm excited. All right. It is time for everyone's favorite segment, Moment to Ourselves. Would anyone like to go first? Because I have 2, a very quick one and a very ahem one.
How about you go first on it? That's much.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, count me down, fellas.
All right, your time begins in 3, 2, 1, begin.
First of all, happy St. Patrick's Day. It's a pretty somber day for me. Today was probably my favorite day, or probably my mom's favorite day of the year. Her favorite holiday was probably Halloween, but Halloween was more like a drawn out process, right? Well, St. Patrick's Day is like one day on the year. I know they're both like a one-day holiday, but Halloween, like you decorate for, you like plan stuff. There's more than just one day you celebrate Halloween. A lot of people, St. Patrick's Day was more like, oh, we're gonna make green pancakes today, So, love you, Mom. I miss you so much. Speaking of family, the Toronto Blue Jays, we need to have a conversation. I don't remember if I've talked about this before. It came out that Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s contract request was under $600 million. For the sake of argument, I'm pretending that it's $600 million on the nose, so I don't have to repeat like 583 or 587, whatever. Toronto, this is the player you pay $600 million for. He is Canadian. He is a homegrown superstar. He is a player that has finished runner-up for MVP for your franchise. He has played his entire career for your franchise. This is the player that if you sign to the 15-year, $600 million contract, whatever number you want to throw out, if you screw it up, no one cares. They will remember the good Vladdy days. Just like Tigers fans remember the good Miguel Cabrera days, even though his second contract went absolutely horrendously. Nationals fans will remember 2019, Steven Strasburg. Yeah, they remember that fondly. They don't care about the contract afterwards. You know, contracts that age poorly? Anthony Rendon, he has no cachet with Angels fans. Albert Pujols has no cachet with Angels fans. Yeah, perhaps better players than Vlad, but yet as a different franchise, you have no cachet with the player. If the Cardinals had re-signed Albert Pujols to that mega deal in 2012, guess what? You remember 2006, you win the World Series. 2011, you win the World Series. You have multiple MVPs in there. Like I said with Miguel Cabrera, the first contract, great. He wins the Triple Crown, wins the MVP, you go to the World Series, yada, yada, yada. The second contract, totally justifiable. You have memories. Tigers fans have memories with Miguel Cabrera. He had his 500th home run for your team. He had his 3,000th hit for your team. He is going to go into the Hall of Fame as a Tiger. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is the player you pay this money for. The Mets with Juan Soto, if Juan Soto is a total bust, that's a bad contract. If he was a total bust for the Yankees, if he was a total bust for the Nationals, if he was a total bust for the Padres, guess what? You have good memories. The Yankees, they went to the World Series with Juan Soto. The Nationals went to the World Series and won the World Series with Juan Soto. Blue Jays fans care about Vladimir Guerrero Jr. You, as a organization, should care about Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He is a homegrown superstar a Canadian player. That's a tough wrinkle here, that how many players actually want to go play in Canada? How many players want to go play in Toronto? How the conversion rate, I know they get paid in USD, but so much of your life is in Canadian dollars. There's the political turmoil. I get it, but this is the player you pony up for. I'll speak from a Braves fan. You pay Ronald, you pay Ozzie, you pay Olson's a local guy, you pay Harris, you pay all these players, and you, even if it bombs, even if they don't work out, I have fond memories of these players. Even if Strider dies well, I hope that doesn't happen. Strider pitched today. He was unbelievable, by the way. If Strider gets a gambling suspension and never pitches again, I have fond memories of Spencer Strider, and I can say, yep, that contract was worth it. He didn't win a World Series with the Braves. He didn't win a playoff game with the Braves. Like nothing, like there's no substance there. But guess what? I watched him pitch. He was awesome for my team. I cherish that. Blue Jays, figure it out. If any other team and Vladdy's horrendous for them, bad deal. Absolutely, I'm on board with that. But with the Blue Jays, the $600 million, I don't care. I do not care. Is he worth $600 million in the open market? I don't think so. But there are guys, there are athletes, there are players, there are men, there are women in other sports, WNBA, that you pony up for. There are players that matter to your community. There are players that matter to your country. There are players that matter to your city. There are players that matter to all the Blue Jays fans. Number one on that list is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. If it doesn't work out, so be it. Blue Jays fans have fond memories. 48 home runs in 2021, second place in MVP voting, electric personality. They can latch on to things. Aaron Judge in New York. If he signs with the Giants and breaks, bad contract. The Yankees, he had cachet with the Yankees. He was runner-up in MVP in 2017. He won Rookie of the Year in 2017. A one MVP in 2022. He had the franchise all-time home run record. If 2023, the toe injury at Dodger Stadium, if that was just every year that he's going to play 50 games for you or whatever, Yankees fans, yeah, Aaron Judge had arguably the greatest season ever by a Yankee. He hit 62 home runs. I would watch that. Totally understandable why you give him that contract. Blue Jays, you're clowns.
But I understand what you're saying on that front. One of the reasons why I'm so happy that Seattle extended Julio forever, basically.
Yeah, you pay Julio. Like if you go out and sign up, just for the sake of example, if you go out and sign Michael Harris as a free agent and he sucks, okay, that's not a good deal. But Julio, your homegrown superstar, you re-up with him, even if it doesn't work out.
They did it his first year of service time, if I'm not mistaken. His rookie year, yeah.
His rookie year. They did it just before the All-Star break.
Yeah, it's like there are deals.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
with making like he's a guy that came through your system. Like all the Braves guys I've said that got extended, they came up through your system. Or Matt Olson's a local guy. There's some guys you pay for. There are some guys, and it doesn't matter. Steven Strasburg deal went as bad as a contract could possibly go, and Nationals fans are okay with it because he has cachet in that organization. They will defend. Nats fans defend Steven Strasburg. They are not defending the organization. They are defending Steven Strasburg.
I'll say I was in Washington, I went to the Nationals game the day after they traded Soto, and it was pretty weird sitting in the upper deck and seeing a Juan Soto poster still up. It was
tough.
Yeah.
So, all right, that's my rant for the day. My voice is cooked, so
I understand that. I'll go next.
All right,
Yeah,
Alex,
go ahead.
3, 2, 1.
I hate scalpers. Legitimately, no. I have almost an unreasonable amount of hatred towards scalpers. I understand that, some people are like, yeah, they're just a fact of things. I still get annoyed by it here, especially with a lot of hobbies that people have here. People are so willing to just try and spoil the hobby of others for their own personal profits. Like being a Pokemon fan nowadays for like the trading card games now, I went to a pre-release on Saturday and I got denied there because everyone apparently was there an hour plus early there. And this wasn't even to like hold on to the stuff. This was for playing the game at this point. And nope, still. And then I found out a lot of people just walked out with the stuff anyway. And then now they're going to try and resell it again, which when you see grown men in their 20s, 30s, 40s here that are diving at a Costco for Pokemon cards and just grabbing as much as they can while shoving a child away, that's an issue. That is 100% an issue, and that person is an issue. I have had so many people that have come out to me as scalpers and said, I mean, look, you got to make any dollar you can somehow. I'm like, yeah, you can. It's called a job. Get a job and don't spoil the hobby for other people, because legitimately, this is how you kill the hobby. This is how you kill a lot of things here, especially like even watching baseball games. We have so many people that scalp tickets here just to sell for a higher value on that point. And I'm like, why do you do this to yourself? Why? I understand, like, it's hard to make money. I get that. I really do. But you know what's even harder to do? Have fun with a hobby nowadays. Because legitimately, you can't even do it anymore. To get an ETB, a Prismatic Evolutions, one of the last sets that came out, market price is $50. That's fine. That's fine for a certain number of packs, all that kind of stuff. When it's selling online for 200 plus, because the people that got there first bought it and decided to try and now resell it for an immediate profit, that's an issue. That's why I'm so happy when I see like other businesses limiting how much people can buy, because it's not about having the amount of supply for it. It's making sure that the supply can get to the right people instead of basically turning into a middleman service.
Bang.
Yeah.
All right,
not
Mac,
a fan,
it is
not
your
a fan
time
of
to shine.
scalpers. Not a fan of scalpers here either.
Oh.
At all. I think it's pretty lame,
Pretty
personally.
lousy.
Yeah.
All right, Mac, I will count you down.
All right. Sounds good.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah, so I saw that the Pirates are doing backyard sports night this summer. I think all of a sudden that's like, I like it. I see it every day now. It feels like on my feed, and like that's something I really want to go to. I think, and it just makes me happy seeing that backyard baseball is so popular still. Really, it's one of those things that I grew up with. It's part of the reason why I became a baseball fan. But I haven't read too far into like the exact details of what's going on. But I guess if you're in Pittsburgh this summer in late July, July 25th, PNC Park, backyard sports night, and backyard sports is coming to mobile. Apparently, I personally don't know what that's going to look like. Backyard sports mobile. I wish it was available on iOS on my computer. I created a Steam account mainly to play backyard baseball, but No, it's pretty awesome though, seeing just how popular it is still. Almost 3 decades after it was first created. So, looking forward to that. Maybe it's like a Pirates Pablo Sanchez something. The GOAT, of course, the secret weapon. But yeah, it's pretty sick. And yeah, I think if you're in the area, I guess go out, try it. Pittsburgh's a cool city, and PNC Park's a great ballpark if you haven't been to it yet. So yeah, that's what's on my mind.
I love backyard sports so much. I cannot wait until they re-release Backyard Baseball 01. Especially since I don't know if you've been paying attention on Twitter. On Twitter, they've been announcing welcome back to all these different legends one at a time, and they just announced Randy again a little bit ago.
Johnson,
I'm like, yes! Now bring back Griffey, please.
Mac, give me the dates for the backyard sports thing in Pittsburgh. I will be there.
July 25th.
Oh, okay. Man, I'm going to Bristol the next week though.
I don't even know if I'm actually going to go. I don't even know what my summer. I don't even know what my summer looks like. Okay.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
Neither do I, honestly.
Yeah, I'd like to go to a game at Steinbrenner Field while the Rays are there.
I went to a spring training game last year there. So
okay. I'd like to go to Sacramento while the A's are there, but that doesn't have to be this year. So
fair enough.
Anyways, well, if you've stuck around with us for over 2 hours, thank you. Here's a cookie.
I would take that gladly right now.
I'd gladly take a cookie.
Cookie would be great.
A special 2-hour episode, by the way.
Yeah, maybe a Shamrock cookie. Those are pretty good.
Ooh, get the Shamrock shakes from McDonald's.
Shamrock McFlurry, personally.
I'm going to pass on that. Anyways, one thing I'm not going to pass on, following LAR_baseball on Twitter and Instagram. You can check us out on YouTube, Losses Above Replacement, LAR_baseball. We have like plus 300 subs this last month. We're really popping off, posting highlights, posting rankings, posting our player graphics. Exciting times. You can follow us individually on Twitter, Alex at the Sports Guy 242, Mac at Mathias_A_K, and you can follow me at Mr. Splashman19. Make sure you check us out, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Leave a 5-star review. If you don't like it, let us know. You know, I'm always down to improve. Maybe you think that my takes stink. Sorry. Maybe you think my voice is annoying. Sorry. I don't know. I'm open to criticism here. I'm sure Alex and Mac are open to some reasonable criticism.
Don't say anything too mean, all right?
Yeah, if you have mean things...
Trust me, I've heard worse.
Yeah, that's true.
Same.
If you have mean things, direct it to White Sox at fanmail.com. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you enjoy your St. Patrick's Day. Baseball is back tomorrow.
Let's go!
Yep.